Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FTR's, but hey, it's something. So, this is going to be the first episode released in December. My first year of this channel is about to come to a close. There will be a video that will detail all the fun parts about that soon. But I won't be out for a little bit. I'm pretty much in the middle of editing it. And well, let's get right into the news. This will hold you over till then. You'll like it, and it'll even feature a special guest. That's right. President Donald Trump himself will be in appearance in the show. I actually got him on the phone to talk about it. So, Mr. President, how do you feel about your appearance in this episode?
This episode is tremendous. The episode that features me is going to be so great. So great. Okay, folks, let me tell you, folks. This episode is going to be so great that all the other episodes will be put to shame. Alright, folks? I'll tell you that much. Though, folks. Okay, thank you for having me on, but I gotta get back to doing, presidential stuff. Thank you for having me.
No problem, Donald. Now, one quick thing, though. I'm actually going to be going over some 2020 stuff in this episode, so do you think maybe you should weigh in on any of these potential candidates?
Look, I'm going to be very clear with you, and this is going to be completely honest. If Bernie Sanders is the nominee, I am toast. I am literally toast. I am betting for someone like Cory Booker to be the presidential candidate for the Democrats, alright, folks?
What about Richard Ojeda?
You mean Richard Ojeda? dirty Mexican boy? Why would I be worried about some Mexican boy trying to be against me?
But Mr. President, Ojeda's a white man who actually voted for you.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he voted for you in the 2016 election because he couldn't support Hillary Clinton.
Sorry, I gotta go.
Hello? Are you there? Guess he hung up on me. So anyways, let's ignore what that whole debacle with Donald Trump was, but let's get right into the news. Republican Hyde Smith beats Democrat SP in Mississippi Senate race, NBC News projects. The election came amid a backdrop of race-related controversies that drew national attention to the contest. Republican Cindy Hyde Smith has defeated Democrat Mike Espy in Tuesday night's special election in Mississippi. Now, pretty much the whole debacle is, she said that she would love to be in a public hanging, and Mike Espy is a black man. I actually got into a whole debate with a person on Twitter because, people like the Working Families Party and Elizabeth Warren and Ayanna Pressley have been like, we need to bring a progressive voice to Mississippi, so we need to support SB for Senate. And I'm like, but guys, he's a conservative Democrat. He is self-espoused a conservative Democrat. Now, if they said, well, yeah, but we don't want a literal racist in Congress, then that'd be one thing. But they didn't. They said that, they legitimately said he's a progressive voice, and he's not that. If you are a progressive voice, then you'll be known by progressive voices. There's no way that he would be a progressive voice in any shred of the word. Alright? So I'm not particularly mad that he lost, because for some reason people still don't understand that. If you give people the choice of voting for if you give them the choice of voting for Republican Light or Republican, they vote Republican. Alright? Why would they pick the diet version? I don't get it. But anyways, moving on to the next story. Senate votes for ending illegal U.S. war in Yemen. Okay, now, before the title is misleading because they didn't end the war in Yemen yet. It was like the Kavanaugh hearing. It was the vote to get to the vote. The vote total was 63 to 37 in favor of ending the war, or like pushing it to be voted on. The senators for it were Alexander, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Booker, Brown, Cantwell, Cardin, Carper, Casey, Cassidy, Collins, Coons, Corker, Cortez Mastro, Daines, Donnelly, Duckworth, Durbin, Feinstein, Flake, Gillibrand, Graham, Harris, Hassan, Heinrich, Heitkamp, Hinro, Jones, Kane, King, Klobuchar, Leahy, Lee, Manchin, Markey, McCaskill, Menendez, Merkley, Morin, Murkowski, Murphy, Murray, Nelson, Paul, Peters, Portman, Reed, Sanders, Schatz, Schumer, Shaheen, Smith, Stanpo, Tester, Toomey, Udall, Van Hollen, Warner, Warren, Whitehouse, Wyden, and Young. So, as you can see, there were quite a few Republicans. The ones obviously to reaching people's minds, of course, are like, oh yeah, of course Murkowski and Collins and Paul and Lee would vote for the full yes on this. Why wouldn't they? Well, I mean, Collins and Murkowski probably they would have been like, with the corporate machine, but whatever. Lee and Paul were kind of like, they were the only Republicans expected to vote yeah. But a couple more, including Lindsey Graham, of all people, voted yes to the bill. Of course, there were a lot of nays. Most notably, Ted Cruz, Orrin Hatch, Hyde Smith, actually, McConnell, Rubio, and, of course, sadly, Richard Burr and Tom Tillis, my people, my senators. I'd call them to say, hey, vote for this. I think I might actually call them at one point to vote, to see if my vain efforts to try and get them to vote to end this Yemen genocide. People have actually humorously called the people who voted nay on this the Senate Genocide Caucus, to which I say, well, I mean, people are legitimately dying in Yemen, but, I mean, if it gets us a little funny votes on Twitter, then sure, why not? It's a big haha joke. But, I mean, this is good. This is a good thing. The fact that this happens is a good thing. I definitely want to end the genocide in Yemen. I mean, surprisingly, I don't think the U.S. should be, aiding and abetting a genocide. And, well, it's good that there are Republican allies that can actually help get that passed. Now, of course, sadly, many people, well, I mean, not technically sadly, but more like, it's kind of, I guess I don't know how to describe it. According to many people, Lindsey Graham and other people, like other Republicans, voted against it, not because they were like, we need to end this war on Yemen, but because they're mad at Saudi Arabia about Khashoggi. To which, yeah, I'd be mad about Saudi Arabia about Khashoggi, but, maybe you shouldn't, do this solely because of that. But, maybe you should try something else. But, whatever. Next story. NC Elections Board refuses to certify 9th District race, leaving it in limbo. The State Board of Directors elections Tuesday refused to certify the results of the 9th Congressional District election after one board member cited what he called unfortunate activities in the eastern part of the district. It is unclear what those activities involved or what the failure of cert might have been. The board has discussed the matter in a closed session. Republican Mark Harris defeated Democrat Dan McCready by 905 votes. What gerrymandering gets you. So, yeah, pretty much the NC Board of Elections is like, hey, this is not necessarily a good thing. Maybe this gerrymandering thing ain't so good. To which I say, yeah, sure, this is a big no-no. We have like 3 Democratic districts. And not to shit on Democrats, but like, I mean, Brad Miller was taken out of his district literally because NC Democrats couldn't let him keep his district. They failed to get him his district, but whatever. Okay. So, the next story kind of goes to New York. And it's technically something that's been old, but I guess it's something... It was recently in the news, but it explicitly stated some thing that's kind of old. Reform Party loses ballot line in the 2018 election. Now, that's just a thing that happens in New York because that's what happens in New York. If you don't have a 5,000 vote threshold, 50,000 vote threshold is what keeps you on the ballot in New York. Any party that is able to get at least 50,000 votes gets the automatic ballot access for the next election. Now, these are the parties that, like, in 2014, the parties that got automatic ballot access for 2018's election were the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the Conservative Party, the Green Party, the Working Families Party, the Independence Party, the Women's Equality Party, and the Stop Common Core Party. The Stop Common Core Party eventually became the New York City Reform Party. But, you know, they're not going to be on the ballot anymore. Here are the ones that are ballot qualified for the next election, 2020. The Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the Conservative Party, the Working Families Party, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, the Independence Party, and the Serve America Now movement. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a different field for New Yorkers. Nothing's really going to change for the third party status, except as you may notice, Independence Party kind of went downward, which isn't a good thing because I think this might be the cue for Independence Party to actually start running candidates. Because, I mean, think about it. If you're gonna vote for Andrew Cuomo, why vote him on that ballot line when you have 2 others to choose from? Well, they had 3 in this particular election. Also, I'm kind of curious what's going to happen to the Women's Equality Party now that Cuomo doesn't have that ballot line anymore. So, yeah. The next story is one that features a person that's last name you know, Joe Kennedy III, hopeful he can support revised Medicare for All bill next year. Representative Joe Kennedy III says that he would hope to be able to support a revised Medicare for All bill next year, but said that he has concerns with the current version of the bill. Adding Kennedy as a co-sponsor to the Medicare for All bill would be a major boost in momentum for the effort, bringing on a board of rising Democratic star whose legendary family has been a long leader for the push for universal health care. I don't think that was part of the Kennedy family name. I don't think the Kennedys were explicitly for Medicare for All. I don't think that was a thing. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know. Kennedy has come under pressure from progressive activists to support the current version of the Medicare for All bill, known as H.R. 676. But Kennedy told The Hill that his concerns with the way the bill was currently written couldn't let him sign on. Representative Pramila Jayapal is working on a revised version of the bill to introduce to the new session of Congress. I would hope to be able to support that. He says his concerns about the current bill include its restrictions on abortion funding and could negatively affect investor-owned hospitals, which include Catholic hospitals in Massachusetts. His concerns are that hospitals might not be able to make money. Ooh, that's not technically a good thing. Many people have been calling out Joe Kennedy III for not endorsing the Medicare for All bill. Personally, I don't really care if he does or not. I don't give a shit about Joe Kennedy III, to be quite honest. Literally, the last Kennedy I cared about was Bobby. Joe? No, not Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy the first? No, I don't like him. John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy were good. The Joes were never really particularly that good, to be quite honest. Ted, all I know is that he drove a car into a river and then died. He didn't die because of that. He died for something else. But, I mean, I guess technically the idea of Joe Kennedy III endorsing the Medicare for All bill would be a big boost. But then the big problem is this. You see, corporate Democrats are trying to make Joe Kennedy like the new face of the party, even though Joe Kennedy's not doing anything. Think about it. What is Joe Kennedy III doing? What is he doing? Think about it. What is he doing? What's Pramila Jayapal doing? Well, she's trying to lead the Medicare for All caucus and is going to be the next chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus and is trying to lead progressives to a better future. What's Ro Khanna doing? He's organizing all of these younger, more Justice Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar to support a Green New Deal. What's Raul Grijalva doing? Well, he's I think he's going to be put on a chairmanship of like a specific board or something. I forget. Barbara Lee, what's she doing? She's running for caucus chair. We'll get to that in a second. Well, I mean, she ran for caucus chair, but we'll get to that in a second. So she's showing that she's at least doing stuff. What's Tulsi Gabbard doing? She's making appearances, spreading the progressive platform. You see my point? What's Joe Kennedy doing? He performed the State of the Union. That was one thing. Like, this is the thing. If he supports the Medicare for All bill, all of a sudden, it's not going to be Pramila Jayapal's bill. It's not going to be Ro Khanna's bill. It's not going to be Bernie Sanders' bill. It's going to be the Joe Kennedy bill. And then they're going to attribute it to Kennedy for some reason in history classes when it's like, oh, and this guy Joe Kennedy is going to be, he led the charge for Medicare for All, and then Pramila is just going to be left behind in the history books. You see my point? I think we need to have the progressives, like, they don't need him. They don't need a Kennedy to put their views up on a pedestal. The Kennedys had their time. Now it's done. Kennedy, Roosevelt, Adams, Bush, Clinton, those names are gone. If you have those last names, do not run for office. Nobody cares anymore. They want the new ones. They want the Jayapals, the Khannas, the Grijalvas, the Lees, the Ocasio-Cortezes, the Omars, the Tlaibs to run for office and be the next faces of the party. Speaking of next faces of the party, Hakeem Jeffries wins Democratic caucus chair race against Barbara Lee. You know, if Barbara Lee lost the speakership, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, that'd be something. But she couldn't even lose at speaker. She had to lose her caucus chair. She was running as caucus chair because she thought, I believe that she thought that she was running for caucus chair just because it was an easier spot to win. Well, clearly wasn't. She lost. It was a 123 to 113 votes for Hakeem Jeffries. Now some people have said, well, Hakeem Jeffries is also part of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, so he's perfect, and he's also black, and he's young. You guys are talking about how you need young people. Well, first of all, yes, he's part of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. You know who else is? Darren Soto. He ain't no progressive. He ran against Alan Grayson. you can't go up against Alan Grayson and then say, "Oh, I'm a progressive." No. If you're a progressive and Alan Grayson's running against you, you're gonna move to the side and let Alan Grayson take your spot. All right? You don't get endorsed by the center-right party in Puerto Rico. That's not a progressive. The Congressional Progressive Caucus has a lot of members, and a lot of them are progressive. And if I ran for Congress, I would intend to join the Congressional Progressive Caucus, but not all of them are that progressive. I mean, Hakeem being a prime example. He's for charter schools. That's not progressive. He's, I think he was against the teacher strike. He was something like big. I think maybe it says in the article what he was against. Something big. He was against. He called Bernie Sanders a gun-loving socialist. So, you really call that a progressive? If that's a progressive, man, I'd hate to see what someone was who's not a progressive would be. Ay, Dios mío. This is wow. Like, there's literally nothing else to say. Now, of course, there's also been accusations by Lee that her age and her gender were used as tactics against Hakeem Jeffries. So, and yeah, I can understand why. But you see, it's the thing about the Democratic Party. They always do this. I say, maybe Nancy Pelosi shouldn't be Speaker. They say, how dare you? Just because she's an old woman doesn't mean she has any less right to be a person who is going to lead our party into the future. And then I say, well, okay then, Barbara Lee, she's around the same age as Pelosi, and I think she'd make a good speaker. And they say, ugh, gross, she's too old, get away. We need a new face to the party to bring the party into the future. Okay. Ooh, I got an idea. Maybe Bernie Sanders should be president. No way. Bernie Sanders is way too old. You need to drop the old people and have new young people take up the mantle of the presidency. Oh yeah. Who do you think should be the Democratic nominee? Well, obviously people like Kamala Harris or Cory Booker, but you know who'd be really cool? We should have Joe Biden run for president. Joe Biden would be really cool. Or Hillary Clinton. Yeah, they'd be great candidates. Who's with me? Nobody. Nobody's with you. And this is the funny part. There's actually an article on Politico that says Pelosi creates a leadership position for Barbara Lee. Like, she understands that progressives are so mad at the idea that Barbara Lee didn't get the position of caucus chair. She literally had to create a new position just to appease them. Because here's the thing. Nancy Pelosi, I don't want her to be speaker as much as anybody. But we have no options. There is no options. I would have loved for there to be a progressive option against her. And I'm not going to be supporting her for Speaker of the House. But, I mean, who's the alternative? Kevin McCarthy? Seth Moulton? Steny Hoyer? I mean, I'd be different than Barbara Lee. If I want a House seat and I was gonna be elected in the next Congress, I would immediately run a campaign for Speaker, just so I could get like a couple protest votes. So yeah, this is a big thing. And well, I hope that Barbara Lee gets the chance to be a speaker at one point. But at this point, it doesn't seem very likely. Because Democrats just keep shoving their boots down our throats. And then they expect us to go vote for them next time. Which, I mean, I would, under certain circumstances, you know, which we'll get to in the next part of the video. But now we're on to the political party of the day. Now this one's actually interesting because it's not even an American party. We're going to be covering the Animal Protection Party of Canada. The Animal Protection Party of Canada is a minor registered political party in Canada that focuses on animal rights and environmentalism. It was formed in 2005 as the Animal Alliance Environment Voters Party of Canada, as a merger of two parties. One party was for animal rights, one party was for environmentalism, and they're like, what if we combined ourselves to form a brand new party? Now, in Canada, there's really nothing much to do that, if they're not a registered by Elections Canada as a political party, there's not much they can do. They can run candidates, but they can't really do anything. They usually endorse NDP candidates. They have run a couple of candidates in, races they've run 7 people in Ontario in the 2015 election and 1 candidate in British Columbia. As you can surprisingly guess, they don't really win. They don't. The highest amount of votes they got was in 2015 with 1,761 votes. And I think that's combined. So, yeah. This party doesn't really do much, but I mean, it's a good party to have. There always needs to be one party advocating for animal rights and environmentalism. We need those parties to exist. So, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to be going into the 2020 presidential election again. Remember, it's the first presidential election I get to vote in, and I'm intently looking at all of the candidates to make sure that I've got the perfect choice in mind for me. Alright, so let's get started with all the candidates. What the... Who's calling me? Is this the president himself? Hello, Mr. Donald Trump. How are you doing today?
Okay, folks, I'm gonna be real with you. After watching some Richard Ojeda campaign ads, I'm officially on board the Ojeda train. I'm officially endorsing Ojeda to be...
Wow, that's incredible. You're actually gonna be endorsing someone across party lines? That actually seems kind of cool.
Oh, you didn't let me finish. I am endorsing the candidacy of Richard Ojeda to be my running mate in 2020. I'm officially dumping, who's that Christian guy, Mike Pence, the guy, that stupid loser. He needs to go hold his Bible and I don't know, what do Christians do, pray? Okay, so I'm gonna talk to... I actually drove all the way to West Virginia just so I could go to Richard Ojeda's home and talk to him. Alright, Mr. Ojeda, will you please run as my running mate in 2020? Do you accept it or not?
I can't accept that.
Oh. Well, I mean, I'm screwed. If this guy's running against me, I am totally screwed. It's a good thing that there are gonna be a bunch of people running against him in the primaries, because if not, I would be totally screwed. Alright? So, if there's one more thing I need to say, it's this. Mr. Beat is way better at making videos than you. Secular Talk. Okay, I'm a TYT premium member. I watch Progressive Voice. He's way better than anything you will ever be. Alright, folks. Unsubscribe from Pluribus Unum. Downvote all of his videos because he said that I was kind of a paleoconservative. Alright, folks. Goodbye.
I mean, you didn't have to be that mean. Maybe I should get a better blocking thing on my phone. Unless you guys like these mysterious calls that keep coming to my home. If you like them, please please let me know in the comments. Maybe other people will call me, like, I don't know, Jordan Peterson or something. But anyways, now let's get to the more serious note. 2020. Donald John Trump is, of course, running for re-election. We all know that. It's kind of a given. First, I'm going to explain a bit, because a bit more candidates have been revealing themselves as of late. So, I'm just going to give a brief rundown of all the candidates that have currently announced runs for office. Donald Trump, incumbent president, Jack Feller, perennial presidential candidate since 1988. Jonathan Sharkey, professional wrestler and perennial candidate for multiple offices since the year 2000. Mike Norman, a modern monetary theory Kesnian economist. Rocky De La Fuente, businessman and candidate for president in 2016, and pretty much he ran for a lot of offices in the span of a couple of years. Patrick Little, a neo-Nazi and 2018 candidate for Senate and well, I think I covered all that. 2018 candidate for Senate as a Republican. Keith Davenport, a minister and Democratic candidate for Oklahoma's 5th District in 2014. Those are all the Republicans. Now here are all the Democrats. John Delaney, congressman from Maryland. Richard Ojeda, veteran state senator and candidate for West Virginia District 3. Rocky De La Fuente, I think Rocky hasn't stated that he's still not running as a Democrat, but he's made multiple indications that he's going to run as a Republican eitherwise, so he's here as well. Jeff Boss, 9/11 truther and perennial candidate for multiple offices since 2008. Harry Braun, renewable energy consultant and perennial candidate since 1984. Robbie Wells, former football coach and candidate for multiple offices under multiple parties since 2012. Jeffrey Feiger, an attorney and Democratic candidate for governor of Michigan in 1988. Andrew Yang, entrepreneur and founder of Venture for America. Ryan Farber, a progressive newcomer. Willie Carter, perennial candidate in 1996 and ever since 1996. Ken E. Nwatike Jr., a peace activist and inspirational speaker and video journalist. Michael E. Arth, artist, author, policy analyst, and 2010 gubernatorial candidate from Florida as an independent. Donald Eugene Lowe, Libertarian candidate for president in 2016. The only one that hasn't explicitly said that they're running, but is very big, is Marianne Williamson. She's currently forming an exploratory committee. Libertarian Party, Adam Kokesh, Libertarian peace activist and congressional candidate in Mexico's 3rd Congressional District. Zoltan Itzvan, Libertarian Transhumanist and Transhumanist Party candidate in 2016, and Libertarian Party candidate and gubernatorial candidate in 2018. Vermin Supreme, satirical candidate who has run for multiple offices since 2004. Cecil Inc., owner of Inc. Films, and Libertarian Party presidential candidate in 2016. Donald Eugene Lowe, Libertarian candidate for president in 2016. Joe Exotic Maldonado, Greater Wynnewood Exotic Animal Park owner and independent candidate for president in 2016. Arvind Vora, former vice chair of the Libertarian Party. William Hurst, former radio personality and DJ. Derek Michael Reed, 2016 presidential candidate and 2018 Senate candidate. Green Party, Sedinem Kinemo Christian Moyo Wasiza Curry, founder of the Green Party Black Caucus and 2016 Green Party presidential candidate. Gary Swing, perennial third party candidate for multiple offices. Jimmy Ugle III, perennial third party candidate for multiple offices. Constitution Party, Bill Bays, Prohibition Party vice presidential candidate in 2016 and Prohibition Party candidate in 2020. Independent/other. Dan Ratner, journalist and newspaper publisher. Lawrence Johnson, former football player. John McAfee, founder of McAfee Inc. and 2016 candidate for the Libertarian Party. Terry Wheelock, Independent Party candidate of America. And of course, there's also James Walter Jobe, who's running as an independent, as a writing candidate under a satirical party. Sees the memes of production, but you don't know. But, those are all the rundowns of all the candidates that have currently announced runs. Now, of course, there are also people who haven't announced runs, like Bernie Sanders, or Jeff Merkley, or Tulsi Gabbard, or Beto O'Rourke, or Cory Booker, or Kamala Harris, or Kirsten Gillibrand, or Joe Biden, or Martin O'Malley, or Michael Bloomberg. The Libertarians also got a couple of those as well, like Justin Amash. Like, Libertarians really want Justin Amash to run for president under their party explicitly. And I mean, I get why they want it. They want another Ron Paul or another Gary Johnson, but they aren't getting Gary Johnson or Ron Paul to run. So that's the only option they got. Jill Stein and Jesse Ventura and Kent Mesplay are pretty much givens to run for Green Party and stuff. But this big one, I think, will primarily focus on the Democratic challenge, because Democrats are going to be a big thing for 2020. Democrats are the ones that everybody's putting their brain towards. Everybody wants the Democratic Party to be that. Now, like I said, there's like a million people who are currently announcing or saying like, I don't know, maybe I run, maybe I don't know. But like I said, those are, I've named the givens, and I've named a couple of people that are exploring, like Marianne Williamson. But the big thing is, who is going to run? Who are the big names that are running? Now, Bernie, I think, is just a given. Merkley and Gabbard and Warren, I think those guys might be a bit iffy. Like for those four explicitly, they're under the mentality that either, like, one of us is gonna run. I just don't know who it's gonna be. Who should it be? Now, anybody with a brain would say Bernie and maybe Gabbard as a consolation prize. But, many people are saying Merkley. Of course, there are also people who want to shove down certain political campaigns down our throats, like Beto O'Rourke. Beto, who I endorsed reluctantly in 2018. I say reluctantly because I knew there was a lot of things that were iffy about him, but he was saying what I wanted to hear, like, let's legalize weed. Ted Cruz is lying Ted, and we need to enact a form of single-payer health care. Not explicitly Medicare for all, but some form of universal health care. People have been saying, like, he's Obama, but white. It's like, oh, yeah, that's the problem. He was part of the New Democrat coalition, and nobody wants that. I don't think anybody wants that, to be quite honest. And there are also a lot of corporatists who are pretending to be progressives, also throwing their hat in the ring and trying to be like, hey, I'm gonna run. Like Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand. Some people still want Joe Biden to run. Some people still want Avenatti to run. Some people want Bloomberg to run. But personally, here's what I think will be the final stage. Okay. The stage in 2016 will be as follows: Delaney, Ojeda, Sanders, Gabbard, Booker, Harris, and possibly Bloomberg. Those are the ones I think will definitely be on the stage. Now, of course, you might be saying, what about Andrew Yang? Don't you like Andrew Yang's candidacy? Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't think he'll get enough support to be on the stage, while Ojeda and Delaney will. Those are the ones that will be on the stage, I think. They seem the most likely to be on the stage because, they are the biggest voices to be on the stage. like, Harris, everybody loves Kamala Harris for some reason. Everybody wants the idea of Kamala Harris running. People want the idea of these candidates running, especially considering Cory Booker. He's got, the whole, hey, my state allows me to run for both offices. Merkley's trying to do that, but I don't think Merkley's going to have enough oomph to get on the stage. And I don't think Warren will be on the stage either, to be quite honest. I think the progressive young woman to be the thing would be Gabbard, of all people. But, of course they're going to be sparring between the candidates, the more corporatist ones will be Bloomberg will be like, hey, we need to pull a Democratic Party to the center, or Booker will be like, we need to blah, 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 blah. Me, black man, you vote me. Harris will be like, me, half pussy, so you vote me. And Gabbard's gonna be and Gabbard, Sanders, and I think O'Rourke's gonna pull on the whole, hey, me, white Obama, that thing that people in the South wouldn't vote for, so, hey, maybe if there was Obama that was white, they would actually have someone to vote for. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But Ojeda will be a strong voice for, the populist one. I have a feeling about Ojeda that he's going to be the, the Mike Gravel or the Dennis Kucinich of the stage. He's going to be the guy that doesn't pull his punches. When he's going to point at Booker and be like, you voted to not allow the United States Medicare to negotiate drug prices for our patients. You voted against that. You voted against importing our drugs from Canada. You voted against that, Mr. Booker. Because, as Ojeda puts it, we need to stop going into a fight where our opponents got brass knuckles and we're carrying a pillow. Time to knuckle up. So yeah, those guys I think are going to be there for at least the first debate. There might be an outcry by Yang being like, hey, yo, what the F, bro? You're gonna leave me out? But then by the next debate, it's probably going to narrow down, and there's going to be I think Booker might, leave. Bloomberg definitely will be out by the first one. He's going to be the new Lincoln Chafee or the Jim Webb. That's really going to be say something that's going to be completely out of whack. And, by the next debate, it'll be shortened to I guess O'Rourke, Harris, Sanders, Gabbard, and Ojeda. So it'll be so progressives will at least have a decent voice on the stage. Oh wait, Delaney. Yeah, I think Delaney will leave too, to be quite honest. Maybe Booker will still be there and Delaney will be out. But around those guys. Then eventually the likes of Gabbard might, stop running in order to allow Sanders to have a more staunch progressive base. And then it'll be Harris, Booker, I think I said O'Rourke would stay. Yeah, maybe O'Rourke will stay. And then, Ojeda will always also be there. Because I don't think, no matter who the candidates will be, Ojeda will probably still be there. And then, I think probably the likes of Booker and O'Rourke might leave because they might be Harris is a woman, we gotta support the woman. And then by the end, it might end up being Harris, Sanders, and Ojeda on the debate stage. Because I don't think Ojeda will ever drop out. And I'm being kind of fair to him for letting him be on the debate stage this long. Because I think maybe the poll numbers would not be kind to him and allow him to not be on the debate stage. But, this is just a hypothetical scenario where, he has enough of a base in the rural states to allow him to be in that debate stage. And of course, he'll be there to call out Harris when she's da 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 da. He'll be that's not true. You're lying. And then when Sanders will say something, he'll be like, yeah, Sanders, you're absolutely right on this. We need to do Medicare for all, and, da-da-da-da. And then the stage will narrow down to eventually, I think it'll just stay to those three for, like, the rest of the convention. And providing no, nonsense in regards to certain things, Sanders takes the nomination. I mean, that's it. That's pretty much the whole thing about how it would go, at least in my eyes. Now, of course, this would be a big thing for who do these other people endorse. Now, of course, these guys will probably be like, we endorse Harris because a woman and stuff like that. Maybe at one point, Yang performs somewhat well enough to have, like, Sanders or Ojeda announce that they have a plan on introducing universal basic income. Maybe they'll go on the debate stage of, like, a lesser-known candidates forum, and one of the lesser-known candidates, like Yang, will get such a big approval rating that they end up going to the big debates. But I don't know. And in the end, I gotta know who's running in order to make a better assessment on this. It's gotta be a bigger, better upset. Now, for I believe that at the very least, Ojeda. I keep saying Ojeda because I don't really want to talk about Harris, because I think Harris really will only pull off the same amount of states that Clinton pulled, in the sense of, like, maybe, like, Sanders will definitely pull up a lot more of the rural states. I think maybe at this point Pennsylvania might flip to him in the primaries. And I think maybe the Sanders wave will take up more states. Maybe he'll win, like, the likes of New York or something. But she's definitely going to be taking the smaller ones. I mean, not the smaller ones. Like, she's gonna take the basic ones that nobody. I think maybe Ojeda will also pull, like, a favorite son, and then, like, he'll win West Virginia in the primary. But at this point, I'm really just guessing, because none of these big candidates have announced their candidacies yet, except for Ojeda and Delaney. I can't really go off what Ojeda and Delaney will end up doing. So, yeah. These guys are definitely going to be quite a fair challenge. And it'll also be the primary that I've probably voted in. Now, let's say, here's going to be the big problem for me. If all of the progressive candidates make it to the NC's primary, who will I vote for? Now, I say this because in 2008, even though I'm talking about how, like, I love Dennis Kucinich and how I would have voted for him in 2008, Kucinich didn't make it to North Carolina. In fact, neither did Edwards. Gravel was the only candidate aside from Clinton or Obama on the ballot, and I think at that point he dropped out, but it was too late for him to be removed from the ballot. So, who would I vote for? Easy, Sanders. I mean, there's not much to it. I mean, if Sanders isn't on the ballot, and let's say Gabbard or Ojeda is my choice, or maybe Warren and Merkley, yeah, I'd probably pick Gabbard. Now let's say it's Ojeda versus Merkley or Warren. Maybe Merkley. Now let's say it's Ojeda v. Warren. I guess I might have to go with Warren. Or maybe... No. That's actually a hard one. Would I vote for Elizabeth Warren or Richard Ojeda? Huh. Now, I never thought of that. Now, let's say if Sanders doesn't endorse and doesn't enter the race at all, and the likes of Andrew Yang versus Richard Ojeda are on my ballot, Who do I vote for? Probably Yang. No, wait. Because I learned that Yang also has like a First Amendment problem because he wants to establish a thing that controls like what fake news is. So maybe I would vote for Ojeda over Yang, despite the fact that Yang seems to be a bit more closer to what I would consider a mainstream progressive. But you know, me and Ojeda are Southerners. We stick together. Does West Virginia count as the South? Probably not. So that appears to be all I got for the Democratic primaries. Tune in some other time when I talk about the Republican primary and if there's going to be a decent challenge to Donald Trump. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora. What are your thoughts on that whole telephone call I had with Donald Trump? Do you think it's a good thing or do you think it's a bad thing? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And maybe you want someone else to call in. I don't know. Who do you want to call into my show? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.